Yo, guys, what's up? And welcome back to the Marvelous Chats podcast. This is episode 104. Tonight on the cast, we're going to be talking about the finale of Secret Invasion. We're going to do a little recap of the entire season and give you our kind of thoughts on the whole thing and where the MCU is going. We're going to also talk about other nerdy news for the week and whatever else comes up. Yo, what's up?
Hey, what's going on? How's
How
it
are
going,
you?
buddy? I think I'm getting a little under the weather.
That's okay. I think there's something going around. You're not the only one. I think that's happening to a lot of people. Apart from that, how
Yeah,
was the week today?
it was busy, man. Like I finished up work and then I had to pick up my sister from the airport, and so she came to visit for about 4 days. And
Oh, nice.
I dropped her off this morning, and oh my goodness, it's just it's so much to do. Cleaning up this room because she borrowed the room for a bit. So
Do
that's
you,
me
do you
just
only
like rushing.
do you only have one sister?
Yeah, I only have one sister.
Her name's Sarah, is it? Am I
Yeah.
thinking of the right person? Yeah, and
Mhm.
she was streaming for a while. She doesn't stream anymore though, does she?
She does. It's
Oh, does
just
she?
yeah, I think she was talking about like how she kind of went on hiatus because she wanted to do some other work in the
Oh, cool.
meantime.
Okay,
So
I haven't seen her live in a long time.
yeah, like she was talking about getting back into the scene.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah,
Keep me posted.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
Absolutely, guys. Anyone who's chilling here with us in the chat live, really appreciate it. If you're listening to us on a replay, just do the usual bits, like the stream, give us a follow if you're new, and leave us a comment below if you're watching a replay. It really helps with the algorithms and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So yeah, look, let's just dive straight in. I think there might be a good bit to talk about in this one. So this week on Wednesday, we had the finale of Secret Invasion. Before I say anything, Alex, give me a rough score here out of 10. Let me know what you
Oh,
thought. Be honest.
dude, I give it like a 5. Yeah, I give it a 5, dude.
Five's pretty good. I'd give it less than that.
Yeah.
I absolutely hated this finale. I did. I just wasn't a fan of it whatsoever. It hurt my soul. I was
Yeah.
thinking after I watched it, I was thinking maybe a 3. And the more I think about it, it would potentially get lower as well. I was just really fucking annoyed.
Yeah, I
That's
agree.
hilarious. Rob gave it a 3 as well. Chilling coming in with a 6. That's very high, chilling. Yeah, guys, I
That's
don't.
very high.
It is like that's extremely high. I think that might be the highest rating I've seen so far. Um, like honestly, bro, I just like I don't know. I don't know what the hell they were thinking. You know what I mean? Like they've gone and like well, sorry, quick spoiler warning for anyone who hasn't seen the finale yet, but obviously we're going to be going deep on it. But Gaia is now the most powerful person or powerful being in the MCU. Like she has the powers of like fucking 20 different characters. Like Thor's in there,
Mhm.
Hulk is in there. Like it's crazy. She's a literal god. Like Captain Marvel's in there. It's insane. Like it was wild to me. And it was again, like as I'm watching it, it was so obvious what was going on.
Oh yeah.
It was just so blatantly obvious. Like there was no entertainment in the finale whatsoever. I just thought it was ridiculous. It was just, and as well, like I think it was off to such a terrible start as well when I switched on Disney Plus and saw that it was only 36 minutes, and I'm like, 36 minutes. I was like, there's at least 7 minutes of credits at the end. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, the thing, like, we're not even getting like 30 minutes of watch time. Like, I was like, this is insane. Because if you take out the intro and the credits at the end, what are you left with? Like 28 minutes of screen time? I was like, this is
Yeah.
just outrageous.
That
Outrageous stuff. And then we didn't even
sounds
get a
about
fucking
right.
after credit scene either.
No,
Like
nothing.
what? Like
Nothing.
nothing, bro. Like I was like, what the hell? Like, link it in. Like I know it's be obvious for it to link it in with Captain Marvel, but like, at least give us a little after credit scene of him in space. Or I was expecting potentially a little after credit scene of another character from the MCU that we know well revealing themselves as a scroll at the end, and then the story would continue in some other project. But like I read something during the week. I can't remember where I read it, but I think it was to do with Captain America 4, and I don't know if it was like the director or if it was Mackie himself or someone said the events of the Secret Invasion show won't have anything to do with Captain America 4. Like what? An alien invasion on Earth and they're not going to talk about it in Captain America 4? New World Order or whatever they're calling it, or Brave New World, whatever they changed the name of it.
It's Brave New World because they're fucking cowards.
Yeah, yeah. So
In Brave New World, give me a break.
yeah, like Rob's right, hella buns. It was terrible, bro. Like honestly, and like even like the last fight was just it just looked bad. Like the fucking like a guy coming out with like the Morty arm and everything. Like I was like, this is so stupid. Oh, bro. So like and again, like how did she just kill things so quickly? How did she kill Gravik so quickly? Like they both
I
have the
don't
same
know.
powers.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, you would think that the extremis virus would be taking care of the fact that he can self regenerate. If he has all of the powers in the entire like Marvel Cinematic Universe so far, and she does as well, then you can't kill him.
Exactly.
You have to seal him away at that point. You knocked him out, and like we could say that like maybe like she knocked him out, and so now they're going to seal him, but like that still doesn't count. Like at this point, it doesn't count. It looked like she just flat out killed him.
Yeah.
Like it's just not fun anymore, dude. Like it was supposedly getting a little interesting like in certain cases, and maybe when it was like the point where they were transforming and whatnot, I was like, okay, maybe we're gonna see some cool stuff. We're gonna see some interesting animations, and we're gonna see some cool tactics.
Hmm.
But it wasn't even. It was just like, I'm gonna grab you and we're gonna go into the air and we're gonna fight, and that's it.
Yeah.
It wasn't really anything spectacular. There wasn't,
Yeah.
performances.
Like
The actors were bumped up to a 5.
I think Gravik's final kind of conversation with what he thought was Fury was very well acted by the actor. I thought that was good. Like it was a good speech. That he portrayed good acting in that scene. Um, but again, I just kind of knew he wasn't even talking to Fury, so I'm just like, this is irrelevant. It means nothing. Like,
Right. Well, and I really think it was rushed, to be completely honest. The cuts that like the cuts and edits that were in those scenes were a bit rushed. Everything
bro,
felt like it was a
they had 28 minutes. Of course,
yeah.
it was rushed.
Oh yeah, but like it really felt rushed in a sense. Like if you were to rewatch it, you can tell like the scenes where Gravik is getting angry and like shouting out at the quote unquote Fury
Yeah,
is like, it didn't feel genuine. It felt like it was like super cut into the situation of like, we couldn't get the right like feeling for this moment, so we're gonna have to go with this. This is about as best as we can do, and it was ass.
yeah,
It was cheeks. That was it. That's all it was. And it was pointless at this point because we already knew everything that was going on. We understood that he was angry, but there was nothing else in between that really gave the feeling that like, oh, I give a shit about what Gravik says. It turned like Gravik started as this like in this certain point, it started out pretty interesting. The character had an interesting take on things. He was very well done at the beginning, I feel, and then
mhm,
over time it changed halfway through to, I'm just a big dumb villain that wants to have all the powers and take over the world. And it's like, we've seen this hundreds of times, man. Like,
yeah,
we get your motivation, but you're willing to kill all of your like civilization for this kind of shit. So like,
yeah,
it doesn't make sense to me, because at this point it's like, were you for your people or are you not for your people? Like, what difference does it make? Like, oh, I want to rule with fear. It's like, fuck off, dude. Like, you're gonna kill everyone anyway. Like,
yeah,
you're just trying to start a world war. You're gonna get people killed. Scrolls and humans are now exposed, like being exposed into the world now. But like, if you were to say that Gravik won, and then like everybody started like congregating as scrolls and whatnot, like there would only be a handful, and then there would be a regime, and then nothing would like come of it. Like,
yeah,
it just doesn't feel like a comfortable, or not comfortable, but like it doesn't feel like a solid reason for me to care about this character. Like when Thanos came around and was like, I want to introduce like the possibility of like making things balanced. Rhodey was the skull since Civil War. Of course he was. Because when you looked at the outfit that he was in like a what was it? Patience, like a patient smock kind of thing.
yeah, yeah. Bro, like that, like I know this was theorized for a long time, and it was, it was leaked apparently a while ago. But like the fact that the director's coming out now and is actually confirming this, like it's wild. It's wild to me. Like
Right.
are you like? I feel like I have to go back now and rewatch Infinity War and Endgame, and just be like, that's a scroll the whole time. Like the
Mhm.
whole any interactions with Tony like are all just irrelevant now. You know, they don't
Right.
matter anymore.
And big question about that. Where the fuck is the suit? Where is the suit, man? Like, if this Rhodes is a scroll, where's the suit?
Yeah. Just throw that up on the screen for anybody who hasn't seen it. This is just what you were talking about here a second ago, Alex. This is when he's going in for after he kind of breaks his legs or whatever, or is paralyzed, and then this is him coming out. So like obviously he was taken in the hospital or copied in the hospital. Like wild, bro.
And so now we have a disabled Rhodey, a Fury that's out in space, a Skrull that is like absolutely jacked with all these powers, and now we're safe.
Yeah,
I don't get what the point was, Fury. Like, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. There's nobody to help the planet anymore. I don't care what you say about Gaia. Gaia took up with I forgot the actor's name, something Coleman. The lady who was like,
Olivia Colman.
Olivia Colman. Yeah, like she shacked up with Coleman. So like, where's your team? What's going on? Who's gonna take care of Earth when you're gone, dude?
Well, my rough calculation here, they said that there was 1 million Skrulls on Earth. So I'd say after this show, there's about 900,985 left. You know what I mean? Killed like 15 Skrulls in the show.
I was hoping you'd say 999,999 because they only killed Gravik.
No, well, a few more did. Definitely more died. But I'd say honestly, about 15 Skrulls died in that whole show. So there's still a bit of a Skrull problem on the Earth.
There's a handful. Fury's like, my work here is done. Good luck.
Yeah, we killed Gravik. Get this shit. I'm off this planet. At least he took his wife with him this time, and she got the kiss. She got the kiss in Skrull form. The paper bag is off.
Dude, I was hoping it'd be an ET moment where he'd like put his finger on her chest and be like, I'll be right here.
Yeah. That's good. Andre mentions the chat about Oppenheimer. We will talk about Oppenheimer. I did go see it on Wednesday, so I
did not get a chance to go see it.
I'll give you my rough little kind of
it's
experience
history.
or whatever. No, I'm not talking about spoiler. Obviously, we know what happened, but I'm just saying I'll talk about my experience of the movie and stuff like that. 10 out of 10, by the way. But yeah, little spoiler. But yeah, it was incredible. Yeah, so like Olivia Colman, like I was speaking about this with my girlfriend as well. My girlfriend loves Olivia Colman because she's a big fan of The Crown, and she's popping up in loads of stuff now. She was even in an episode of The Bear this season, and she's incredible. She's absolutely incredible. But like even the fact that we had an incredible actress and an incredible performance and an interesting character in the show, it was still terrible. Like, through no fault of Olivia Colman, like she was amazing in the show, but it just didn't give a shit. You know what I mean? Like the fact that I've read already that the events of this show are not going to be talked about in like one of the next massive projects that are very close, like in the next 12 months or whatever. Like that's wild to me. Obviously, Armor Wars is going to be, I presume, heavily impacted by the events of this show. We're going to get the real Rhodey back. We better see on screen him finding out that Tony's not alive. Because think about it. He doesn't know yet. He doesn't know that Tony's dead now, which is wild. He doesn't know about Endgame. Yeah. He doesn't know about Thanos. Like, he's never even heard the name Thanos before. Like, think about it. Like, there's a lot has happened. Like, it's fucking insane to think it. You know what I mean? Right. Like, I think that's maybe why, part of the reason why his show got changed into a movie, because I just think it's going to actually be eventful, and I think Robert Downey Jr. is going to come back in some capacity, whether it's Rhodey watching kind of video footage or whatever, or holograms that he has, or maybe Tony left a message for him or something like that, how to use the tech better, or here's a new suit for you or some shit, like and then like there's a lot of people theorizing that maybe Tony will appear or be in the MCU as an AI or as a suit, like as like a Jarvis in the future or something for Rhodey. So yeah, I think RDJ is going to be involved again, but I think he's like, if I'm coming back, we're doing it on the big screen for sure.
Right. So I guess the question now is like, so I from what I remember in Infinity War at the very end, we saw that Rhodes did disappear, right?
Sorry, this is an incredible comment. Sorry, I had to put it up on the screen.
Oh yeah, of course, man.
Hell yeah.
Green chicks need
Hell
love
yeah.
too.
Yeah. Look, this episode was so bad. I actually brought a beer with me tonight because I thought I might need it because we're talking about this bullshit. So this is the first for YouTube. I'm drinking a beer on the stream.
Oh jeez. Well, I
Yeah,
gotta say,
I
like,
needed it
I think
tonight.
no, you're good, man. I understand. I had to get sleep. But going back to that point where in Infinity War, I believe Rhodes disappeared, right? He disappeared. So like in that sense, that's the scroll, right? That disappeared, or am I? Or, no, actually, he didn't disappear. He was one of the few that actually stuck around.
Yeah, he didn't. He was alive
So
for the blip.
so
It says 5
did
years of a scroll being. Oh, did the real Rhodey blip?
did
That'd
he
be it.
blip? Like
Well,
like
he would know no different. He'd disappear off that table and then he'd just like be back on it 5 years
right.
later.
Right, but if that was the case, then how funny would it be where if like they blipped and like he was out of the thing for a while and he's like, "Where the fuck am I?" And then he comes back and he's like, "Ah, shit," and he gets captured again.
Or if the scroll lost because the scrolls have connection with his memories and stuff because they're hooked up to the machine.
Yeah,
Imagine the real Rhodey blips so that the scroll has to like kind of fly solo for 5 years. He has no access to the memories, and then it's like 5 years later. It's like, oh yes, grand. Oh, he's back. He's back. Great. I have all his memories now.
maybe that's why. Maybe that's why he was like such a dickhead, like the scroll playing Rhodey.
Man,
So the
again,
blip,
I need to rewatch it now because it's all gonna have new meaning, which is
right?
crazy. But I don't think I'm gonna rewatch it and go, oh yeah, this is the moment where the switch flips and he's a different person. Like there's no way. I'm sorry, I still don't believe it. I was doing up a
Yeah,
couple of shorts for the channel, and like one of them was us talking about this maybe last week or the week before, and like I truly still I stick to what I said. I don't believe that this was ever a plan for a long time. It might be them just trying to be clever and trying to like write it backwards in the story, but like there's no way in hell they like years ago, like when was Civil War? Like 2016? There's no way back in 2016
Or-
they had decided, oh, actually, we're gonna, stick a scroll in here into the Avengers and let them act a bit different and no. I'm
I
sorry,
mean,
no.
that's what they're trying to say, even though it
I
was
know.
done very poorly.
I'm well aware, but it's kind of like a retcon to the original story. Like it's not. There's no way it was actively planned out and written into the story as it was being
Right.
released. Like
But dude, like this is the whole thing, man. Like when you start retconning so many things, it starts getting really fucked. Like in terms of the timeline. And yes, it's excuse me. And yes, it's one of those moments of like, oh shit, this actually happened. Well, like that's just an excuse for them to retcon things and to make things like make slightly more sense in certain areas. It's like
yeah,
how is Rhodes like still the Secretary of Defense like for the president? Like how are we still having this uh or he might not be secretary, but anyways, like it's one of those things where it's like how is he active? How is he walking around? Oh, he was a scroll. It's like I don't care. I really don't.
I presume
It,
like the tech for Rhodey's legs would have got better over the years. Because the way you saw him walking with like a kind of exoskeleton. I presume the exoskeleton throughout the years probably turned into nanotech, and pretty much it looks like he's just walking around himself, but he's probably using an aid of some sort. You know,
well, then they can explain that, but even then it's like what could they have possibly done? Like we needed to see a background. Like we needed to see the moment where he got captured because
bro,
it's very confusing.
so much of this show happened off screen, and it's so annoying. Like
Mhm.
Gaia's whole character development happened off screen. You know, this show ends, for example, and we now have a person who is the most powerful being in the MCU, and we don't even see where she goes or what she does. We don't know. It's completely unknown. Like
We just know that she's made a deal with Coleman, like
I
with
I
Carol
don't
Coleman's
again, I
character.
don't care. Come on,
Yeah.
bro. Give us something else. Give us the after credit scene with her where she might be off planet or she could be doing something or she gets introduced to like Sam like or something like, you know what I mean? Like do
Yeah.
something cool like, you know what I mean? It's just bro, so much like
But
wasted opportunity like
But even then, it was very much like you could tell it was shoehorned. Like the moment they brought Amelia Clark, and I'm like, like she's a cool character. She's a pretty good actress. Like so far, in the things that I've seen her in, she's fine. But you're pushing her way too hard just because of freaking Game of Thrones. Like
Yeah.
it's ridiculous, man. Once I saw her get in, I'm like, she's gonna be the new super powerful being because Captain Marvel is gonna be off doing some other shit. She's gonna be in the other movie.
Yeah.
So like, we need someone to protect the world. Why not let it be an alien, which is so fucking off, dude? Like, what is Fury think? Like, what did they do to Fury? They made it feel so forced.
Mm.
Like, there's nothing that says that he even redeemed himself. Like nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. And like even from the events of this show to watching the trailer for the Marvels, like he seems so much younger and more kind of active and like I don't know, more of a pep in his step, like in the trailer for that, like than there is in this show. He seems so worn down, like rough or something. I don't know if it's traveling back to Earth or being zapped back down to Earth just like takes the life out of him. I don't know. Like it's weird.
They
It's
lived
it's
happily ever. Exactly, Rob.
yeah, it's
It's
just
just that bullshit.
they just wrapped it up and it was just so ridiculous. So I gotta put this up on screen. I think this made me laugh.
Yeah, exactly.
Like honestly, if that happened, I would cry.
It's gonna happen, dude. It's gonna be like you're gonna like Captain Marvel so that's the thing. It's like Brie Larson's not gonna be available at some point, and they're like, well, we've got Amelia Clark. Let's see if she's available. And then if
Yeah.
Amelia Clark's available, we're like, okay, we have our Captain Marvel.
Like
It's that easy.
She had, I mean, like some of the powers that are some of the DNA that she has in her. I don't know. Does the fact that if she has a part of their DNA, does that mean she has like all of their powers? Like maybe she does. Like I think they'll try and retcon it a bit and like downgrade her powers because you can't have someone that powerful running around because she's literally unstoppable. Like you know what I mean?
Why not?
You have
Why
to br-
not?
you have to bring in someone like Galactus to stand on her or something like
I,
it's
I,
like what the fuck like.
well, I mean, everybody's so fucking hard for Captain Marvel and thinking that Captain Marvel is the end all be all. Ooh, it's the like
Well,
fuck off.
now she has Captain America, Thanos, Captain Marvel, Black Panther, Thor, Hulk. Um, who else is in this list? Like Mantis, fucking Korg, Drax. Like it's insane. Valkyrie, Gamora, again, not really important. Winter Soldier, again, same as
Yeah.
Cap. But like, it's just, it's insane. The list is insane. It's absolutely insane. It's to think that one person has all this power, and like, I don't think it was listed in the list of powers, but like in the last fight, you definitely see Gravik use it, like turning into Abomination as well. Like Abomination is in there, Groot's in there. Like there's just so many fucking power. Like it's just outrageous. It's outrageous.
Yeah, but it wasn't even exciting. It just felt like very lackluster. It wasn't the way it should have been, man. Like I get it. Like you wanted a super scroll with multiple powers, and we had seen that in the comics
Yeah.
originally when the first super scroll was fighting up against the Fantastic Four because they had the powers of all four of them, which was cool. But you also had four heroes who could fight him and show off like their individual powers and their like skills and techniques and expertise at those powers.
Yeah.
Like seeing that Gaia can do exactly what everybody can do and then show off some skill has a bit of an explanation because if you think about it, if they have at least some amount of time, Fury probably gave her a debriefing on what each power does and what exactly entails when she uses that power. And so like what kind of techniques that he's seen before, what kind of things that they've like witnessed. And so like it makes things easier for her to be more combative. But it's still kind of like just a like quick get out. Like I would have loved that. Like I think this would have been better if maybe like in terms of like the fight scene, if we had seen Fury like do a small kind of montage of like this is what you're gonna get. Here's all the powers that you're gonna get. Let's test them out because we've never had anyone with all these powers before. And that would have had more meaning. But then there would have been this moment of like, oh, but actually, sorry, I fucked that up. we couldn't see that because obviously she doesn't have the powers yet, but she could at least watch videos on them. I don't know. It just it like it's nothing about this seems like fun.
I don't know, bro. Like she was tapping into like different, like Drax's strength and using Captain Marvel's powers, and the Hulk. And then didn't she like teleport or disappear like Ghost, and like she was doing
Right.
everything.
Right, but like
Again,
there's no
Ghost
explanation for it.
Ghost wasn't in Endgame, right?
No. Nope.
How'd they get that DNA?
I don't know. You got me. Like they like she phases through shit. You can't even really touch her. They couldn't even touch her. Like
Yeah.
like you couldn't touch Ghost until like the end of the movie. So you're saying that Ghost willingly gave her blood? Like it does like none of this makes sense, man.
Yeah.
Thanos fucking like yes, there might have been blood here and there, but if Thanos disappears from the snap, that means all of Thanos disappears, which includes the blood, man. Like I don't like I think that should be like kind of the solid point. What's the point of having a Thanos's blood? At what point? What do you want to recreate?
Dude, it seemed way over the top. Like if you were to tell me this a couple of not even a couple of years ago, a couple of weeks ago, if you were to tell me that this was exactly what was going to happen, I would have said absolutely not. You're insane. Like I don't know who's like is Feige even involved in this shit? Like it seems like it's just some young guns trying to really like make a name for themselves in the writers' room or something, and they're being given the green light to just put out whatever they want. I get the feeling that like Feige's not even involved in this shit because it's just like that long list that I read out. I didn't even read out everybody on the list, and there's more. There's more than what was actually shown in the show, and it's like, how could you give one person that much power? I'm sorry,
Right.
it's
Now-
outrageous.
Now, I would think that it would be a very cool story if she, as a scroll, became very ill over the fact that there were so many powers within her and so many different blood types within her that she contracted like some sort of like virus that basically is going to kill her within time. So then use her for a movie until she has to pass away in the sense. And I think that would be a fun
nice.
take. That
Yeah,
would
that'd
be
be
fun
nice.
to do.
Yeah,
But if you're just going to be like, yeah, there's now a person that is completely powerful and we're never going to see them again, that doesn't make sense at all to me.
yeah. I think Chillin's right in what he's saying here. It feels like Feige's delegating because there's just too much on the table, and like it's so blatantly obvious. It shows so much. Like
Yeah.
honestly, the shows keep getting worse and worse. Like the fact that I think there's a list out there on a website. I was watching Den of Nerds during the week, and he pulled up this list, and it was like the worst, like the lowest, like the bottom 5 MCU projects or episodes or whatever, rated episodes or rated movies or whatever it was, and 4 out of the bottom 5 were Secret Invasion. Like how fucking
Good.
wild is that?
Good. I need like
it's not
they need
good,
to see
bro.
this shit.
It's
They need, but
not
no, they
good.
need to see this. They need to
They
see
do.
how much garbage they're making.
They don't care though. Do you know what I mean? And I think they've realized that Echo's probably going to be the exact same story. So they're like, fuck it, let's release it all at once. And if it's a week of bad press, so what? People will forget about it. Then we just move on to the next thing. Like this was 6 weeks of everybody online just shitting all over this show, and I'd say Disney were just like, fuck, we need to just get this shit over with. Like if they announced tomorrow that they're canceling everything else show wise except for Daredevil, I'd be very happy. Or if they decided, look, let's just turn the best parts of Daredevil into a movie. Armor Wars has already been turned into a movie, and that's it. Let's just like fucking burn the rest. Like release Echo because it's done, but burn the rest. Like just go back to movies, man. Go back to movies.
Well,
Get
at
back
this
to
point
connective
now,
tissue.
At this point now, dude, I'm worried about Daredevil. Like
Loki season 2 is out, I think, this year, like end of the summer. Is it September time or something like that? So it's out in the next like 5 or 6 weeks or something.
It's like October 6th, isn't it?
Maybe, I don't know. Even at that stage, it's out in the next 10 weeks or something. 4 of the 6 lowest rated MCU Disney Plus episodes on Rotten Tomatoes. Like it's wild. I was looking at that. I was watching Josh like open that up, and I was like, there has to be Miss Marvel episodes in here. That show was ass. And it's like 4 of the 6 were Secret Invasion. Oh my god. It's October. Okay, cool. Yeah. October
6th.
yeah, I don't know. I kind of have high hopes for Loki because I think Loki was probably the best Disney Plus series out of all of them. It was just it was the one that was, in my opinion, had the best story and kind of tied into the actual MCU the most. And then obviously, Owen Wilson's going to be in Deadpool 3 and so on. And like and then obviously we get Kang and so on. So it seems like that show was actually connected to the MCU. Like everything else seems to be disconnected, and I think that's the problem. Like the fact that, again, to go back to this point again, but the fact that there's a million scrolls on the Earth and that's not connected to the MCU, like what? Fuck Loki, I'll be playing Spider-Man.
Well, even
Hell yeah.
then,
Hell yeah.
even then, Finto, you have to remember that they kind of wrote themselves into a corner, because of the fact that the multiverse wasn't a thing to begin with, and that we had to have all these like anomalies, and the TVA had to be involved, and things had to get snipped and whatnot. So we're basically saying that because of all the events that happened before, like, are we going to say, Finto, stick with me on this? Are we going to say that everything that occurred within the Fox universe, the MCU, the Sonyverse, the Venomverse, the Spider Verse, all of that occurred after Loki? Because if you think about it this way, all of those events, all of those things that occurred are way too radical, in my opinion, to be their own thing within the sacred timeline. That it makes absolutely no sense to see it as like this is all within the sacred timeline, because the idea behind the multiverse is that many different variations of things are happening. Multitudes of changes occurred. And yes, they have like certain like universes where it's just one thing that changed, and so it's just slightly this, or they're animals now, or they're goo monsters, or they're zombies or whatnot. And it's like, and that makes sense. But if you're saying that this was before the events of the multiverse occurring, then it doesn't make sense to me. So like, where do you place all of these different universes then, if you were to say that you believe in the sacred timeline?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it, and to be honest, I don't know. Like, again, time travel and all this sort of stuff is very confusing. It's like, when did the prime timeline, or whatever, the sacred timeline, when did that come into play? Like, does that only just come into play as we view it in Loki, and then it kind of restarts or whatever, or like has that been the case the entire time? Like, it has to start at some point. So are we
Right.
viewing the start of it or the end of it? You know what I mean? So
Right. So from what I would say, like, if we think about it this way, then I would say, if in terms of what you just said, then when we saw the moment that the multiverse started through the idea that like killing he who remains creates this multiversal war, in the sense, that's the start of the entire series for everything Marvel, and like in its entirety, just from the beginning. which
yeah.
which makes sense, which at this point now makes sense, because they are at the end of time. From
Mhm.
that point, they're able to witness things occurring within time. So once you see that the splits are going off, then that's when we get the Fox universe. That's when we get the Spider Verse. That's when we get the Sonyverse. That's when we get like everything. Because if we try to like identify it as like, oh, this all occurred before Loki, I don't believe you. You know,
Yeah,
it,
I don't know. I don't know.
it's fucked, dude. Like, time travel is fucked. Like, it's so hard to write time travel. And so like, I understand when you say like, I don't know, but I feel like that's the case. Like, if they don't identify that like, any of this stuff didn't happen until after like He Who Remains was killed, then like, it just like, none of it will make sense. Nothing, I would say.
Yeah, I don't know, because it's like, is the because the way like mutants aren't in the 616, and I think I'll let the theory out there is that Kang kind of maybe had a thought that mutants might be the ones that might be able to stop him, so it's as if he was preventing them from being in the 616. So
Right.
is that his version of the sacred timeline, but the other universes are still in play, but he's focusing on 616? Does he refer to 616 as the sacred timeline? or are we, so let's say we talk about 838. 838 is full of mutants, so it's like, is 838 not part of the sacred timeline? Do you know what I mean?
Well, do we know exactly if 838 is
Like,
full of mutants? We only know about the one. And
well,
I'm not
Charles
saying
Xavier,
yeah,
Wanda,
I'm
I,
saying
I,
I'm saying post though. Like I'm saying post like post Illuminati.
I would, you would
Like
have
would
to presume so. You would have to
you
presume so.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Okay.
And then now as well, 616 is mentioning, there's little like nods to Wolverine, like in that news article, like, like man with claws attacks people in a bar or whatever.
Mhm.
So it's like there is a Wolverine out there now. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, it's. I think it's if you were to like try and make sense of it, it's very hard to make sense of it because I think that they are very much just making it up as it goes. You
Right.
know what I mean?
And it's really
So
hard to make shit up as you go. Like as we
yeah,
see right now with Secret Invasion.
yeah. Yeah, I think Deadpool 3 is gonna just it's gonna be a wild ride, and I think like Ryan Reynolds is just gonna just start a race and timelines and events and everything, and then just by the end of it, I believe there's like a fourth wall break, and he just literally says, "Fuck this, I'm going to the 616. That's where all the action is," or something. Like he's gonna just jump
Yeah.
ship, and the rest of it's gonna just cease to exist. There's gonna be an incursion and game over. Like so, like it seems like they're trying to erase their own past. You know what I mean? And make a
Well
new
that
future.
I mean that makes sense because Disney doesn't like anything that happened before its time.
Yeah,
So everything gets retconned at that point.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who do we think the Deadpool 3 villain is going to be?
Himself.
A different version of himself?
Yeah. I think that would be fun.
I think it's Magneto.
Yeah, well like Magneto's powerful, but I don't know if Magneto can carry as a like as a true villain towards like the entire multiverse. I think he's like that would be Doom to be completely fair.
Yeah,
I
I don't think they're going to do Doom anytime soon.
which
Like
is
I really
sad
don't.
because
Very
it's
sad.
sad like that like Doom is one of the coolest characters you'll ever run into. Like when we
Yeah.
actually get him on the big screen, I'm hoping that they do him justice.
I think they will because I think Feige has expressed interest in Doom since his kind of beginning.
Yeah.
It's been one of his kind of focal characters that he's focused on. So I think he will do it right. Um, Cillian Murphy's been asked a lot during like his press run for Oppenheimer if he would be interested. He's one of the biggest fan castings for Doom, and his answer was like, I'd be down, but I'd need to read a script. He's like, I will not accept
Yeah.
anything before I read a script. So they obviously don't have anything. They haven't come to him with a script. So I don't know. I don't think
Right.
it's I
Well,
don't think it's happening anytime soon.
if at that point, then I really don't want to see his face because Killian Murphy is getting up there in age, and his face isn't exactly like show worthy in terms of this. Like like I'm tired of seeing like faces as well. Like I just want to see the villain as they're supposed to look. But
Yeah, like I think Killian would like he might be good, like because he's obviously a great actor, but if they're gonna do the story right, and Doom's gonna actually like mount the mask to his face, then like it doesn't really matter how old he is or what he looks like. It's just all about
yeah, that's
voice
all.
and
Like that's
yeah,
exactly what I'm saying. Like
yeah,
I like I'm cool with the voice. Like I really am.
yeah,
Like Killian Murphy sounds awesome as a villain. Um,
yeah. Get
so
that
get
man
the
a
man a
script.
script. you
Make
know,
make
it,
make the meme. Make the meme.
it-
Yeah, for sure.
it's one of those things where it's like I think that they've played themselves too hard. Like Disney has played themselves too hard into a corner
Mhm.
to where I if the actors are saying I want to show my face more often, I get that. I really do.
Yeah,
But there's a time and place for that, and that's not like that's during the point when you're not fighting. That's during the point when you're going home. And that's what happens in most shows or in most shows and most comics. You see them go home and then they take off their helmet or they take off their mask and they're like, oh, man, fucking what a day. Like it's literally that kind of situation. And
Doom
then some
can't,
other
right?
shit happens.
Because like
No,
it
like
does
it's just
Doom's
on him.
mask, he uses magic as well to like seal it to his face, so it's like it's never coming off.
Right. Because
Yeah,
well, like, yeah, his face got fucked up. Like
yeah,
it was an accident between from what I remember, it was an accident when he was a student alongside Reed Richards and I think Ben Grimm was there as well. or I could be wrong, but I know that like basically Reed is a dickhead. For most people who think that Reed Richards is like a fucking saint, he's a dickhead. He's a major dickhead. He started out at that university giving shit to Doom. So he's really the reason why Doom is such an asshole too.
Yeah, he's cocky, right?
Right. And he calls him like, because he's Victor Von Doom, so he starts calling him like Victor Von Doof. Like he starts like really giving him shit. And then there's an experiment.
The smartest man alive. It's such a terrible slag.
Right. Like it's fucking ridiculous. But like because Doom is so preoccupied with the fact that like Reed is giving him so much shit, he doesn't realize that what he's concocting is something that's going to fuck up his face. And so the explosion happens, it ruins his face, and then that's how we kind of get that scarring. And then Doom learns how to use magic, and then at that point he gets the face plating done. I think by the people who teach him the magic as well.
Yeah, that's cool. I think I heard, again, I don't really know much about Doom. Like I haven't read any of the source material, but I've heard people talking about him, and it sounds interesting. Like I think his mother was a witch and his dad was like a tech genius, so like he's a kind of combination of both.
He's fucking brilliant. He's smarter than Reed in certain cases.
Yeah. But then he's obviously got the magic as well to fall back on. So yeah, it's crazy. Crazy, because I think doesn't his mother goes to hell or something, so there's a storyline where he literally gets to hell himself to try and bring her back and all this crazy shit using dark magic and all. Like it sounds
because he's trying to like concoct some magical experiments so that he can try to like get his mother back, and it's just not happening. I think it also involves a Mephisto.
Yeah, Mephisto's the one who has his mother's soul, I believe.
Yeah, it's fucked up, dude. Like
yeah,
and it's cool. It's one of the coolest villains that you'll ever run into, and I would say he's almost constantly a threat. Like there's a lot of times where he's just like, I just want to be left alone so I can concoct my own business. But then you leave him alone for too long and he's like, I'm ready to take over the world now.
Yeah. So Chillin just brought up Doctor Strange in the chat there, and also just going back on what Rob was asking there about who could potentially be the villain in Deadpool 3. I thought one of the theories might be that it could be like evil Doctor Strange, because he's like, he's got his third eye open now, and he's he's delving into the Darkhold and stuff like that. It's like, that'd be cool if it was someone that we knew from the 616 that was the villain in Deadpool 3, and that it turned out to be Benedict Cumberbatch. Would be pretty fucking sweet.
Right. It's hard to say. Like I'm trying to look and see if maybe there's any definite Deadpool villains that have been around that maybe we can like throw in there.
Mm-hmm. Superior Iron Man, I like that, from 838. Love it. Tom Cruise, let's do it. Bring him in. He's ready. He's putting out nothing but bangers. He's putting out nothing but bangers in the box office. Marvel need him now. They're not making money. They need Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is just doing absolute banger after banger. Like, Top Gun was like the biggest movie last year in the box office, and now like Mission Impossible again, I believe, is another massive hit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Dude, honestly, in my opinion, who would be the best villain? Well, quote unquote, in my opinion, the best villain would be Lady Death. Just tell him, just like have her flirt with Deadpool, because I think Deadpool actually gets with Lady Death for a while.
Nice.
And so I think it'd be fun. Like he kills everyone because he like heard a voice from Lady Death being like you're doing my work and whatnot or something, and then she shows herself and he's like, she's fucking hot. Like starts killing everyone just because.
I just looked at the box office there. Mission Impossible 7's got about 450 million worldwide. Oppenheimer hasn't even broke 300 worldwide yet, which is crazy. And Barbie, for some strange reason, well, I suppose I know why it's doing well, but I can't believe Oppenheimer's doing so little in the box office. It's actually crazy. Like, because the movie's incredible, and I was trying to book tickets for my parents to go see it. It's my dad's birthday next week, and I wanted to book the two of them tickets to go see it in the screen that I saw it in, because it was just incredible. Like the seats were shaking and everything. That's how good the sound was. It was fucking incredible. So I said, my parents were like, "Oh, we'll go see it." I was like, "You have to go see it in this screen." So I'm just like, "I'm going to book the tickets for you because I know you're not going to do it right." So,
right.
And I went and looked for every show next week that's happening next week, and I can't find every single screening for the IMAX in that screen is sold out all week. I can't get tickets for them. It's fucking insane. How's this movie only doing 300 million in the box office? Like, makes no sense,
I don't know, man. Maybe people aren't like that fascinated by history anymore.
bro. It's like as well. Like, there's like it's scoring like an 80 or like what is it? I gotta check. It's like a high 8 on IMDb as well, like with like over 200,000 reviews. Like, the movie is a fucking banger. It's a complete success.
So
8.7 with 230,000 reviews. 8.7 like is out of this world for a film. Like, there's very
yeah,
few films that get close to 9.
who the fuck is Common Sense Media? They gave it a 2 out of 5.
They can fuck off.
They can fuck.
It's a 3-hour long biopic. Yeah, but like honestly, there
I
isn't
mean,
one bad performance in the movie. Every single person that acts in that film gives a 10 out of 10 performance. The movie is spectacular, and there's not 1 minute. Sorry, well there is, but there's very few minutes that you would cut from the film. Like,
like the
honestly,
sex scene.
like the sex scene itself is fine. I don't mind that, but there was like a couple of like, and I can't believe I'm saying this. I cannot believe I'm saying this, but there was a couple of scenes with Florence Pugh where she's just sitting around with her tits out, and it was just awkward, and they're not even that nice. And it's like, just get it out of the movie. Like, there's no point, there's no reason to
Well,
have it here. Like,
did,
she's just sitting there talking to him in a chair with her tits out. Like, and it's like, this doesn't need to be in the film. I'm sorry.
that's Hollywood, baby. Like, sex sells, man. Like, you got to get something in there.
I felt sorry for Florence. Like, it felt like she was just used in that film. Like, it felt really
More than
bad.
likely, yeah.
It felt really, really bad.
But
I
it
just
was
wasn't. That was the thing I liked least about the movie, and I cannot believe I'm telling you that. But honestly, it was just not. It didn't feel like it belonged in the film, and everything else
right,
in the film was absolute perfection. Insane.
right. And I like, for me, I don't believe that the sex scene should have been added. I think that that's just something to get people to stay within, like,
Of course.
stay and like drunk ass people like go and see the movie, or like some idiots go see the movie and they're like, there's a sex scene, and then they tell their friends and then they're like, oh my god, and then
Yeah.
like stupid shit ensues.
Like,
One thing I
the
also
first.
heard. Oh, sorry,
Go
go
on.
ahead.
No, go on.
I was gonna say, like, I heard that the famous line that's spoken is kind of cringe, the way that it's spoken. Like,
Well,
it's
what's the line,
just
sorry?
I am death, destroyer of worlds. I am become death, destroyer of worlds.
No, I thought it was great. Thought it was epic.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like quoting like Prometheus or whatever. It's all so well done, dude. Like, honestly, it's a 10 out of 10 for me. And I think just the screen I saw it in was perfect. We were sitting in the perfect seats. We were like 4 rows from the front, so we were just like dead on, like right in front of it. Like, the amount of times I turned to my girlfriend and looked at her just like in amazement, like just with like the explosions going off and everything. And there's like so many moments in the movie where like you're inside Cillian Murphy's head and it's just carnage. It's just like wildness. And like you just felt uneasy. You felt like you were in there with him. Like, it was so well portrayed. Like, at the sound is everything in this movie as well. And like, if you're not going to see it in IMAX, I think you're missing out, because you're just not getting the proper feel of it. Like, it felt nearly like a 4D film, because like our seats were shaking because it was so loud, and like the script, the speakers were so good in our screen. It was perfect. And I know there was a lot of people talking about like, oh, you need to go and see it on a specific like projector to get the true aspect ratio for IMAX or whatever. And like, most IMAX isn't really IMAX and all this bollocks. I was reading all this beforehand, and I looked it up, and there's only one projector in this entire country that has the Christopher Nolan specs on it. So I was just like, oh, look, whatever. I'm going to like my favorite screen. I don't care if it's like slightly off or whatever, like the picture. I just don't care. But it was perfect. And when the movie starts usually in your theater and like you see them like open the curtains and the screen gets bigger, the screen didn't go out as far as it usually does. So it felt a little more kind of vertical. So it was as if they were trying to capture the aspect ratio. And I don't know if other theaters did that or not, or if it was just my theater, but it was fucking amazing. I was sitting there just going, they're actually like, they're putting in the effort to try and like match Nolan's aspect ratio. And I thought that was very cool. I don't know if that's like happening everywhere, if it was just me. Let me know in the comments below.
See, like, Thinking about this now, dude, like it kind of makes me feel like, if there's all these hoops that you have to jump through just to watch the movie in like a perfect form, it almost
Well,
makes me tired
sorry,
to want to.
this is
It
this
makes
is what Nolan's had said, and that's what he was kind of saying. Like, if you want to see it how it's meant to be seen, as in like his vision, that's what you got to do. But I think it's a lot of bullshit, really, to be honest.
I think so too. Like, just
Yeah,
fucking go watch it.
just
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 enjoy
go
it.
watch it. Look, obviously, if you don't have an IMAX screen near you, like I would still say go see the film. But like, if you could see it in proper IMAX with the proper sound, you're gonna have a better experience than if you sit in a normal screen in a shit seat with a small screen in front of you. Like, obviously go for the best that you can. And that's why I said, like, I'm not going to try and go to this one fucking projector that has the proper aspect ratio, because like I don't care that much. I prefer
Right.
to have better sound, bigger screen, nicer seats, better food. Like, you want to make it a proper experience. So yeah,
Yeah.
look, and honestly, I walked out of the cinema and I said to my girlfriend, I was like, that I think was the greatest experience that I've ever had in the cinema. Like, but I'm not saying it's the best film I've ever seen, but the entire experience, I think that was the best like cinematic experience that I've seen.
Yeah. Well, I guess from my side, I would more like I think IMAX is cool. I think it's really like beneficial in terms of watching those kinds of movies. Honestly, I've been more on the side of Dolby Cinema now.
Mhm.
They're getting really good at doing all the sound effects. The chairs that they have, like they're recliners, so they're very comfortable.
Yeah,
And I still get the same rumbling feeling that you would with IMAX.
my
So I think
my screen has that. It has all the Dolby shit, but it's IMAX as well on top.
gotcha.
So it's IMAX with Dolby as well. Like, so
Oh,
it's like
that's good.
double whammy. Like, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm not sure if the theater that I have like actually has all of that mixed in, but all I know is like I've really enjoyed Dolby Cinema
yeah,
in its entirety,
yeah.
and I really love the recliner seats. I tried to go to
That's
IMAX. I've tried
does
like
your IMAX not have recliners?
no, I
Oh,
don't know
bro,
why, dude. I don't know why they
bro,
don't rip them
move
out and
to a
put new
different
ones.
state. Leave your job. Just fucking get to a state where IMAX has recliners.
I don't
Honestly,
I don't have
I
to
will
leave my
never,
job.
I will never sit in a normal seat and watch a movie again, ever. I will be in a recliner now for the rest of my life. That is a
Dude,
fact.
look,
Honestly,
look.
like I'm not even joking when I say that. I'm dead serious. Like, that is like honestly what's going to happen.
Well, luckily my job is remote, so like I can go anywhere I want.
Yeah, come over here. Come over here. Fuck it. I'll take you to my cinema, bro. You'll be the fucking best cinema of your life.
Dude,
It's incredible.
I'll be on the right time zone anyway. I'll probably be working offshore at that point.
That's hilarious. Yeah, imagine.
Work
Andre just
overnight now.
upgraded his fucking bow system. Let's go, dude. 2 base modules. Holy shit. That's insane, dude.
Ooh.
So Andre was the one who was kind of like, when I was doing up my sound in my new house, um, he was kind of like recommending some stuff to me, and I went with a bow setup myself, but I've only got the 600 bar. I have one bass module, the 500, and then 2 wireless rear speakers. And like
Mm.
honestly, it's a proper 5.1 system, and I love it. I can never put it past like 40%. Like, that's how loud it is. It's crazy. It's
That's
beautiful. I
great.
love it. My neighbors get ripped. Oh, dude, that's epic. Fair play. Fair play.
Their house
That's
gets rumbled. They're like, fucking
yeah.
neighbor
Like,
again.
oh, fucking Andres watching One Piece again. Our windows are shattering.
God, how many times do I have to hear gear second?
um, was there any other news for the week before we go into our little anime section at the end?
Not that I'm aware of. All I know is that like people are getting pissy, like, or there was a pissy news report saying that like Marvels isn't going to be on IMAX, which I'm like, who gives a shit?
I do,
I,
personally.
I
I
don't.
give a
I
shit. I
really
want to see
don't.
it. I want to see it in IMAX. Like, I'm the way I see it now is like I'm going to these movies regardless. Like, I have to see these movies. I have to see
Mhm.
every comic book movie that comes out. I'll be going to see Blue Beetle. I'll be going to see this. I'll be going to see everything. I'll go and see Dune 2 as well. Like, I think they say they're going to be reserving all the IMAX screens for Dune 2. I don't know if that's just in America or if it's going to be worldwide, but I think obviously Dune 2 is going to sell more tickets, so it makes sense that they would have the IMAX screens for Dune 2. Like, that makes sense, of course.
Yeah.
I hope that they do at least a couple of showings of the Marvels in IMAX. I would like to see it in IMAX, but in my theater they have what they call an iSense screen. So the I don't think the sound is as good, even though it is Dolby sound as well. But the
Mhm.
iSense screen is like a 4K projector. So, I'd say if they don't have it, in IMAX, they'll have it in iSense. So, I'll still have a good like screen to go watch it in, but the sound won't be as good. That's the only thing that I'm kind of pissed off about.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think
I'm
Dune, like, I'm not really like, I watched the trailer for Dune 2 before Oppenheimer, and like, I'm gonna go see it, but I'm not like hyped for it. I thought the first one was okay. I think Dune's kind of overhyped. What do you think? Like,
oh
am I
yeah,
alone on
it's
this or
it's
no?
no, it's definitely overrated. Like it's one of
Yeah,
those movies where it's like there's so much scenery, like all this like trailer
yeah.
shit where you got that lady that's like, damn out, oh, and I'm like, I lady, stop. Like I'm not hyped at all for this. Like,
I loved how heavy Zendaya was in the promotion for the first one, and she was in like the last 5 minutes of the film. It was like
it's fucking
what?
ridiculous.
It was crazy, dude. I
It's because
couldn't believe it. She
it's
was
because
mad for
she's
that
the
for No Way
figurehead.
Home.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
think
yeah.
and I feel like that kind of like flame is starting to kind of snuff out a little bit. I haven't really heard from her at all. I don't think we've actually really seen anything like
The
with
only
her.
thing I've seen in the news with her is that she's doing some movie where she's like the meat in a threesome sandwich. Like that's literally it. Like she's like literally getting Eiffel Tower by two dudes in a movie or something. And it's
Is that
like
Euphoria or something?
no, it's like a movie that's coming out. I don't even know what the movie's called, but the only thing I saw about it was people kind of making fun of it, like just like, oh, poor Tom Holland, he must be like
Oh,
crushed by watching this or whatever. It's like,
getting cucked.
yeah, like oh, whatever.
Getting like while she's getting spit roasted. Oof.
Yeah, that would be tough, man. Like I don't know how actors do it. Like I'm a very loyal person. Like I wouldn't even hold another girl's hand, like let alone like do a sex scene with them. Like if I was an actor, like I'd find it to be so difficult. Like, I don't know how they do sex scenes and stuff. And like Cillian Murphy, like is married with kids and all. Like his kids are gonna watch that movie, like, and he's just absolutely laying into Florence Pugh on the big screen. Like I don't know how actors do it. Like it's crazy.
Just throwing some pipe like heavily.
Just laying it, man. Yeah, like feet of it. Like it was crazy. But yeah, I just don't know how actors do it, man. I really don't. Like, and it's
Like,
just
well,
like
let
even when like say both characters, like like if you're in a relationship like Tom Holland and Zendaya, like the two of them are going to be doing like their own shit in other movies and all. Like it must be tough, like going home after work, like and be like, yeah, you're not going to like this at the premiere, like, but we had to do a fucking threesome today. It's like
yeah,
what?
had had to get pretend railed for a bit. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
honey.
yeah, crazy, crazy. Andre, I did see this. Yeah, Beyond the Spider Verse got delayed indefinitely. By the way,
Oh
from
wow. Is it because of the
yeah,
writer
just
strike?
due to the strikes. Yeah, they don't know when it's coming out,
Hey
which
man, like they
which sucks.
yeah, but like those writers need to get their due.
Very excited for Rebel Moon.
I
Very
have no idea what Rebel Moon is.
Rebel Moon. Just to give you a bit of history on Rebel Moon. So apparently, back in 2012, after Disney first acquired Lucasfilm,
Mhm.
Zack Snyder went to Disney and proposed a film, his own script, his own story called Rebel Moon that he wanted to be a Star Wars film, but he wanted it to be rated R and he wanted it to not include any legacy characters. So he wanted to be in the Star Wars universe, but he wanted to tell his own story. Disney
Mhm.
basically told him to go fuck himself. And he was like, all right, fair enough. I'll make it myself. So he changed a
Mm.
couple of aspects of it and is releasing it on Netflix now. It's out in
Yeah,
December.
I
But
remember now. You told me about
yeah,
that.
it looks crazy. It looks really cool. So he's
Dude,
kind
it's
of
got
doing his
Charlie
own
Hunnam.
thing. Yeah, it's a cast is great. Cast is great. It's going to be great. Yeah, really looking forward to it.
Dude, I love Charlie Hunnam.
I do
I
too.
watched all of Sons of Anarchy, and
Yeah,
I know most people are like, oh, the last few seasons are kind of, but like,
they were. Yeah,
I
but no,
I mean,
it was a great series.
it still ended really well. Like, I really like that ending.
I saw something that he's going to be reprising the role as Jack somehow. I don't know if it's going to be like in one of those prequel shows that's on or something. But yeah, Chillin's right. Super stupid move by Disney. Like that movie would have been incredible. Like I think Rebel Moon's going to do really good. It's probably going to open up its own franchise, and Disney are
Yeah.
going to sit there and be like, "Oh Jesus, this could have been us. Like we could have had this. And we're putting out bullshit right now, and it's like fuck, that could have been us." Because
Hey,
rated
you
R is
never.
the way. It is the way to go. Like I don't care
Yeah.
what you say. Like it would be incredible to have a Star Wars movie that's rated R, where like you're seeing people using lightsabers and dismembering people and stuff like that. Like it would be fucking sick. Like
Yeah.
really, really good.
Well, I can see that. I can see how that's like a big deal, especially when you're trying to make something that's very like graphic and like
Hmm.
shows a good amount of violence, has like some graphic language, and just feels more adult oriented. And I think
Yeah.
that's what we're really missing. And I know we've talked about this multiple times, but like, I'm tired of seeing this very kid friendly MCU when in the comics it's just fucking mayhem and brutality at times. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Facts, Andre.
Oh no.
Did you see actually? Speaking of Zach, he put up a tweet today where he was like, "Can't wait to bring my kids to see Blue Beetle. Like representation is important. It's going to be great now." Like I'm like, I saw that tweet and I was just like, "Wow, what an absolute gentleman!" If anybody in the world right now has any more of like a reason to say "fuck you" to Warner Brothers and "fuck you" DC, it probably is Zack Snyder. Like he's been treated very, very poorly. Like him and Henry Cavill fucked over severely. And
Yeah.
like for him to put out that tweet, and I saw some retweets of it were fucking hilarious. Like people like Zack Snyder's just done more promotion for Blue Beetle than Warner Brothers have. Like, it's like
More, yeah. It's
it's
like
insane, dude. It's insane.
it, and like, to be honest, like, yeah, I am excited to see like some representation in Blue Beetle, and I'm excited to see how that proceeds. But I'm pretty sure you and I both understand that like it's probably not going to be great, but it will be good.
Yeah. I don't know if this is like a hot take or something, but like I've never, and maybe it's because I'm a straight white male. And I'm like, we're not we're the bottom we're the bottom of the ladder right now, but I don't give a fuck about representation, and I never have. I don't know if it's just like I've never had to think about it, or the fact that
Yeah.
it's not something I think about. Like
Well, that's
it,
that's
it's
it,
not until it was brought to light recently that I thought, oh wow, I never was a kid growing up thinking like, oh, I have no one to like, you know, look up to because they don't have the same color skin as me. But I honestly like I love like female characters, I love black characters, I
yeah,
love Asian characters. Like I just love the character. I don't care what color their skin is or what
right.
part of the world they're from. Like that never crossed my mind
The
until it was all brought to light. And then I think, oh, okay, maybe what like, and I know it's not the case, but it's like, did I just like Batman because he's a white male? No, obviously not. Like, but
No,
it's just like,
it was just he was cool.
yeah, exactly. And like, it wouldn't have mattered
John Stewart is
if he was
fucking
black.
sick.
Yeah, but it's just like, I don't get it. Like, you know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
well,
I don't need
that
representation, and like, I'm not going to see and support Blue Beetle because he's of Mexican descent or wherever he's from.
right.
I'm going to see it because it's a cool character and it's going to be a good movie. I don't care where he's from. I don't care what color his skin is. Like, you know what I mean?
Right. Right.
That is never a factor for me whatsoever.
Yes, and I totally get that, Finto, and I'm on the same boat as you. Like, I've never really felt like I needed to be represented on film. I never really felt like I needed to be represented anywhere. I'm of Hispanic descent, and I understand like where my background comes from.
Mhm.
But I'm in the same boat as you. I've never really had that feeling. But at the same time, it's the idea that you like just you understanding that like you're not a racist person is probably enough for you, but for the population that actually feels so emotional about this,
Mhm.
they want you to understand that it's important to them, and that's all that they want. As long as you are understanding of what they feel and that you respect it, it's fine. You don't have
Yeah.
to worry about getting it or not, just as long as you respect their feelings. And
Yeah.
that's
It's
and
it's
yeah.
wild, like, because I'll never forget when I went to watch Black Panther in the cinema, like, and again, Ireland, when I was a kid, Ireland didn't have that many black people in it. Like it was primarily Irish people. Like, there wasn't a lot of like mass immigration and stuff like that until probably in the late 90s, early 2000s, like when, a lot of like Polish started coming over here and Russians and Nigerians and all that sort of stuff. And like obviously I never even thought about it as a child, but it was like my eyes kind of opened up a bit when I was like standing in the line for food, waiting to go in to see Black Panther. And there was all these like little tiny like black kids, like 8, 9 year olds coming out and they were
Yeah,
so excited, running around,
right.
jumping up, and I couldn't believe it. And I was just like, that's it. Like it was amazing. It warmed my heart. Like I was like, oh, that's
Right, yeah,
amazing to
like, it
see that
makes
they
you
had.
feel happy because you know that they're so excited to see someone represented on film, and
Yeah.
so
But again, I would have never like not liked a black character or an Asian character
of
because
course.
they don't look like me, like.
Yeah.
It's weird. I don't know. I think it's
I just
just
love the character for the sake of the
exactly,
character.
exactly,
Yeah.
100%.
Now, like, and I'm and again, like another like kind of thing about that is like gender swapping. We don't care if people are gender swapped. We just care if the story makes sense. Like
Yeah,
it,
like if you're gonna do a gender swap, do it for the right reason. Don't just do it for the fact that it's a gender swap. You know what I mean?
right?
To try and
Exactly.
include women, or you know what I mean? Like you don't see gender swaps the other way around, do you? Think
Right.
about that.
Yeah.
You know
Like
what I mean?
we
You don't see like a predominant like Sarah Connor in like Terminator, for example, is like like one of my girlfriend's like heroes, like because in the 80s, like she was like
she's
the original
fucking cool.
she was the original badass, like for women.
Yeah.
And like, could you imagine they did a reboot of it and Sarah Connor was like, Peter Connor or something? Like it was like
Peter Connor.
a man instead. Like it's like they wouldn't do that, like so it's like
Right.
there's agendas. I feel like the only reason why they do the gender swap is just for an agenda, like, and it's the wrong reason to do it, like
Right.
I
Exactly.
just don't see the purpose of doing it that way. Like,
Right.
create female characters. There's plenty of amazing female characters. Sarah Connor is a perfect example. Wonder Woman is an amazing example. Like, there's incredible female characters. Just either go with that or create a new character.
And
You know,
remember,
you don't.
viewers, remember, even if that character looks sexy and you think it might be a bit sexist, it is not, because that character understands that they are a beautiful person and they're fucking powerful. Like they're
Yeah,
like Emma Frost, Scarlet Witch, like Natasha, like those three characters, as beautiful as they are, they're fucking tough people. Like Emma can fucking like Emma has telekinesis. She can turn into like diamonds. She can protect herself. Scarlet Witch can use chaos magic. Like it's not just the beauty, it's the fucking chaos that they can ensue like in it. And it's so fucking
amen,
cool.
amen.
Whew. Um,
Talk about anime. Talk about anime. Go on.
I,
Do the last
I,
section.
dude, I'm behind now because like I had like my sister over, so like
Mhm.
didn't really get a chance to catch up on anything at the moment. Like I'm behind an episode on Jujutsu Kaisen season 2. I'm also behind an episode on One Piece. I did catch up to the point like where Luffy just got like defeated in a sense, but we all know what's going to happen, and so like during the time being, taking care of like, hospitality for my sister as she was here because she originally is from California and I live in Washington now. So like brought her up here. We went out to like the museum and whatnot. We checked out some stuff. We came home on Friday. I had to take care of some stuff. So I told her like, let's just be here. Let's just watch things. Let's just try to like see what you like. And I found out that she's very much into like she really is the demographic that they're looking for in terms of shojo, which means like it's more along the lines for like girls or women.
Mhm. Yeah.
So like I don't know if she prefers like any of the mature content for that, but I think she's very into the cutesy art style kind of things. So one of the things, and like for me, I am a variety person. Like I like everything. Like
Mhm.
I'll give it a shot. If it's supposed to be funny or good or like, exciting, I'll try it. So
Yeah.
like one of the things I recommended to her was called like Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, which is like a lot of people really like that show. Not just because like all the females in there have gigantic breasts, but like it's more so along the lines that it's very cute. Like it really
Yeah.
is, dude. Like and I can admit that like it's a lot of cutesy shit, and it's
How
fun.
giant are we talking here?
D for dragon. literally,
Christ.
literally in the show, it's like what size are you? And then she goes D for dragon.
Wow, that's hilarious, dude. Yeah,
And
I don't get it personally. Like, I've never the whole anime like kind of thing is just it's never appealed to me really. Like, especially from like the whole like anime girl thing. Like, has never really. I've always found it really strange. But yeah, each to
yeah,
their own.
no,
We don't
I
kink shame here. We don't kink shame here.
exactly.
Big old biddies.
Um,
Hilarious.
so I showed her the show, and I am very much adamant about wanting to watch things in Japanese with English subtitles. And I know you, Finto, prefer to have the English dub because
Yeah, I
it's
think I
easier
do.
for you to be productive and to also pay attention here and there because you like, and I get that. I completely get that. When you grow up with that kind with mostly English like speaking shows,
Mm.
it becomes like the norm for you. But because I was so enamored with like all of this Japanese style stuff, and I've always wanted to know what it sounded like in the with the original voice actors,
Yeah.
I've then since then shifted to Japanese with subtitles.
Yeah.
Um, the to be honest, in English for Miss Kobayashi Dragon Maid, like it's not bad. I changed it over and I'm like, okay, it's pretty close to what they sound like.
Yeah.
And it's like I said, it's very good stuff. Like it's really interesting. It's a lot of cutesy stuff. Like basically, like a dragon came to Earth, and Kobayashi found her like in the woods because she was drunk, and she went out there. She pulled the sword out and like healed her up, and so now she's like, I want to live with you, and I will take care of the house basically as a maid. I'll be your maid. And so other dragons, like her friends, start showing up because like they're like, hey, this human is pretty nice. So like it's a fun time. Like it really is fun. But yeah, they really do like kind of yuck it up on the boob thing. Like anytime a boob jiggle happens, you hear it. It literally makes a boob jiggle sound.
ASMR type shit. Like
Yeah.
that's
Like I
fucking
can't
hilarious.
I don't know if I could do the sound justice, but it's like boop, 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 like kind of like
Christ.
Another one that I showed her was like Rent a Girlfriend, which is a very like rom-com style. It's this guy who's like going to a university, who's a virgin, who also like happened to have gotten a girlfriend, but then she dumped him. So like he found this app that's called Rent a Girlfriend, where you basically rent out someone who will pretend to be your girlfriend for the day, but you have to pay them in the sense.
Escorting, basically.
Yeah. And so like the whole plot of that is that like he like realizes that this is all kind of a sham, like she's just kind of pretending, it's not really that fun. And then they go to the hospital because like he finds out that his grandma collapsed and then she's not doing well. And then it turns out that her grandma is also there. So they come through and they both think that they're together now. So that's the whole point, is like now that she has to kind of stick around and become like be his girlfriend, but he still pays her.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool stuff. Like I like rom-com stuff like that.
Alex is 178 episodes behind on One Piece. That's not too bad if there's over 1,000, right?
Yeah, that's
Like
not too
you've
bad.
still seen a lot.
Yeah,
I
like
think I,
he's sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I think I watched 3 episodes of Demon Slayer this week. I didn't have a lot of time. It was a very busy week, and I was like wrapping up work before I took my holidays. I'm off for the next week, so if I have time, I'll try and finish the season this week. But I don't know how much free time I'm gonna have this week. Even though I'm off, I'll
Sure.
be doing a lot of stuff around the house and all. But yeah, it was pretty cool. The 3 episodes I watched were pretty good. There was like these two demons that had like powers, and like he started to run into all these like demons that are like super powered and shit. And there's one that like she was like throwing these balls, and she had like fucking 6 arms and all. It was wild.
Oh, you're in the you're in the district where they're like where they have the little house with the lady with like the kind of like the purple shadowed eyes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And they're
Yeah,
they're demons as well, but they become friends with them or whatever. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. It was cool. It was cool. I liked it.
Oh, I'm glad, dude. Um,
I downloaded Chainsaw Man as well, and I haven't watched it, but I just put it on just to make sure it was the right stuff and like the quality was good and all. And I could see it was Japanese with English subtitles. I was just like, oh, I was like,
yeah, I
okay,
don't
I'll try my best, but if there was
yeah.
no English dub for it, I was like, fuck. Because like what I find annoying about it is that like especially when you're watching, I find especially when you're watching anime, you really want to be paying attention to all the drawings and everything that's going on. I don't want to be sitting there like reading text and missing stuff on the screen, you know.
Mhm.
Like I don't mind it when you're watching like if you're watching live action stuff and it's like slow pace and it's just two people talking. It's like I can sit and like read subtitles and pay attention
Yeah.
to it. Whereas I find like with stuff like that when there's like shit flying all over the place and you're like supposed to be taking in art and everything, I find it just annoying that you have to sit and read subtitles.
So that's one of the perks of me being so like so enamored with that kind of stuff, because
Yeah, yeah, it's
I've
second
got
nature to you.
yeah. So basically, like like I can get to the point where like I skim, I know what they said, and now I can watch what's going on. So like it's
Learn
like I look down,
Japanese. Then.
look up, learn Japanese.
Oh yes,
I
of course.
oh man, it would actually be awesome to start learning. But you know, like I said, like Finto said, like I've said in the past, like we're pretty busy people. We
Yeah.
try our best to like make up for what we can. And if things can be dubbed just so that Finto can watch it, I think that's good enough. Because
Mm,
at the very least, like I'm pretty sure like the audience wants Finto to at least try some different animes and to kind of like branch out and see what he likes. Maybe, you know, what if Demon Slayer becomes like his favorite in the end? Like what if, you know,
yeah,
or what
you
if
never
he's
know.
like, I don't know. He's like, and then you go like, what do you recommend anything else? And I'm like, yeah, we got like a catalog of shit to recommend to you, man. So like that's what I think is fun is for people that like don't want to do Japanese with subtitles, get these different like options so that they don't feel left behind or don't get left out. And
Yeah,
as far as Chainsaw Man though, Finto, I have absolutely no idea if they ever made a dub. I know that
it's fine. It's not that long, right? So it should
no,
be easy to kind of watch. I'll
yeah,
watch the first one or two and like see if it'll sink in for me. Like, but we'll see how it goes. I'm
yeah,
open minded, definitely open minded.
yeah. I would like. I'll tell you this, because I don't want to really spoil it, but I will. But I want to give you like an idea of what the kind of like not the climax, but the roller coaster of emotions goes through. I would say about halfway through, it's like shit starts to hit the fan. So
Yeah.
like it starts to build up to this point where you think everything is good, and then shit hits the fan.
Okay.
So I don't remember what episode that starts at, but it really becomes like this, like really, it basically feels like a movie
Mm.
because by the end of it, they're literally out there to like, hey, you want to do such and such kind of thing, and then it's like, yeah, and it's like it feels like a very much kind of like a handful of things, like all these emotions from the main character, this buddy cop situation from like all of his colleagues, things that happen in behind shadows, like the manager and whatnot. It's like you knew this was going to happen, kind of situation. Like they had the
Yeah.
intel already. Why didn't you stop this? Or kind of situation. Like why didn't you do something?
Yeah.
And and then like fucking god level styles of like what the fuck is going on? Like someone just died out of nowhere. What happened? Like, and I'm not saying like, oh, you saw how they died. I'm saying they popped and they're
Jesus.
dead.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's good. I'll check it out for sure, for sure. Like the trailer that you showed me seemed pretty interesting.
Yeah.
The Edge Runner show was really good. The Cyberpunk one, I really enjoyed that,
Yeah,
and I didn't think I was going to enjoy it, and I fucking really enjoyed that show.
yeah.
Like it was
And
really good.
I really need to watch that because I know Doug is really like interested in me like watching both Arcane and Edge Runner.
Yeah,
Arcane
yeah. No,
especially. I think he was like, I've watched it like such and such times, and I'm like,
he's watched it like 400 times or something insane. Like he's like literally just that's. I think it's all he watches. Like when he's working, it's always on, and he's just has the show on loop. Like he finishes the series, just starts it again, just keeps going back and forth, like just constantly on repeat.
I wonder if he's like one of those TikTok people who are like drinking coffee and they're like doing the lip sync. Like I know exactly what the
Yeah,
what the words are saying.
yeah, yeah. I'd say imagine Netflix looking at his account and going, "This guy's watched this how many times? Fuck, we better make season 2." I think
Just for
season
this
2 is
guy.
coming out soon, is it? I think it actually is. Hang on.
Actually, well, I'm not following it, so I wouldn't know.
I think I might have
Is
saw
it
something
Arcane
about
with a
it.
K or Arcane with a C?
It's ARCANE. November 24. Oh god, that's a while away.
Oh,
You have plenty of time to watch it, so
yeah, I should be able to catch it.
I'll definitely rewatch it before it comes out as well. It was one of those really rare times where, like, even like my girlfriend watched the first episode with me, and she was like, "Holy shit, this is brilliant!" Like, and she doesn't even watch, like, she hates anime. So,
Mhm.
that was where I was kind of like, okay, right, this is something different because it's kind of like Game of Thrones as well. Like, it did the same thing. Like, when you bring in the normies
Whoops.
into something that they shouldn't like, that's when you know you have an absolute like world class banger of a fucking product. Like some of my friends would text me when they were watching Game of Thrones, like, and these people, like one of my mates, I remember him telling me, like, oh, I hate like Lord of the Rings and all Star Wars and all that like nerdy shit, but Game of
Mm,
Thrones is amazing. And like it really, like, people like that shouldn't like Game of Thrones, but that's how good it was. And I
yeah,
think Arcane is kind of like that. And I think Invincible's like that as well. Invincible's like one where you're just kind of like, anybody who watches this, anybody who actually sits down and watches the first like 2 episodes, I think
yeah.
they're gonna like really be hooked on it and have to watch it and have to see what happens. Like the end
Okay.
of that first episode with Omni Man. Like, you've seen Invincible? Have you?
Yeah, I saw the first episode. I didn't finish it yet. I need to finish it.
I don't know how you put it down after the first episode where he just like Omni Man. Like, it's basically, for anyone who doesn't know, it's kind of like Superman just wiping out the Justice League, and you're kind of like,
Yeah,
what? Like,
that,
it's just like
that
it
was
was just like,
fucking
what
cool.
the fuck?
That
It's
was
like,
really cool.
holy shit! Wow.
So Andre's
Andre
never
has
seen Game
never
of Thrones.
seen that. You're one of the, like, you're, I'd say, 0.0001% of the population. I think most of the planet has seen that show now.
Well, I was tardy to the party too, man. So like,
I know you were very late, but even you've
Yeah.
seen it.
uh,
I haven't watched the prequel yet, Rob, but I'm gonna watch it during my time off. I hear it's like an hour long and it's really good. Like I was kind of skeptical. I thought it might be shit. But apparently it's on equal par with the quality of Invincible, so I'm very
That's
excited
good.
to watch it. Yeah,
Yeah.
very excited.
And I feel like The Boys, although like I would recommend that to anybody because of my standards, I still think that that's a show that might still kind of be a hit and miss for some people. But I really like the way everything is, like the storyline and everything that's told in it and everything that occurs and all the chaos that ensues. Like I think it's very well done, and I think that anyone should watch that one.
Yeah, I think The Boys is kind of universal as well. Kind of like the rest
Just
of the shows that
about
we're talking about. It's just
Yeah,
anyone should be able to jump in and watch it. And
I think so too.
I always kind of put it on a kind of like graph of like if my parents watch it and like it, then anyone can watch it. And I think my
Mhm.
parents watched The Boys. I can't remember. I must ask them. But like my parents watched Game of Thrones. My parents watched like I'm pretty sure they watched The Boys.
So
And like it's like it's like if they come if people like my parents who aren't that old, like my parents are young enough, like my
yeah.
mom's in her 50s and my dad's in his early 60s, like so they can watch if they can watch it and enjoy it. I think it's kind of made for anybody except for like really old people. Like
So my mother is visiting next week,
yeah,
and so
are you gonna show her the big
I'm
titty
gonna
anime?
share the. I'm gonna. No. I do want to like. I do want
Hey
to show her
mom,
some.
check this shit out.
Check these titties, mom.
Yeah. They're D's, believe it or not.
For dragon. No, I'm thinking maybe The Boys. I think I should show her The Boys.
Yeah, I
I
think
think.
The Boy, like especially season one, like I get the again the show gets kind of really fucking crazy as it goes on. Like I remember the first episode of season 3 where your man like the fucking Ant-Man equivalent is like crawling through the dude's dick. And it's like a tunnel. He's like going
Yeah.
through a tunnel. I was like, oh my god, like what are we watching? Like I couldn't believe it. And I
And he
remember that
sneezes.
yeah. Oh Jesus, dude. I remember that week when that was because we were doing this podcast when that season was airing, and we actually put him inside the dick as the thumbnail. I remember Hoffman designed it, and he was like, "We might get the video banned for this," and I was like, "Fuck it, let's try it, dude. It's worth it."
Do it.
And it's still there. It's still there. We have a
Didn't
dick as a thumbnail.
didn't you change the coloring or something just so that it didn't look too much like it?
No, like it was pretty like on.
It was
par,
like 1-to-1.
Yeah, it was like pretty much the episode. It's just like a red tunnel.
Maybe that's why it hasn't been
Oh, man.
taken down because it looks like a
Yeah.
red tunnel.
Yeah, exactly. I loved this show, American Gods, on Amazon. Thought it was fantastic.
Never heard of it.
Loved
Never heard of it.
Really, really good.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah, it's finished now. I think they had 3 seasons total. But very, very good. Very good.
Okay, I'll definitely check it out. So on another note though, like I watch a lot of TV with Katie as well, and she's very much into trash TV, like all the like TLC kind of shit. I gotta tell you, man, some of that stuff can actually be very enticing. Like I'll be like, I remember the first time I was like going through the kitchen, and you'll see this on TikTok. There's like memes of this all the time. Like I'll go through the kitchen, I'll grab something to drink or something, and then she's watching a show, like a TLC show, and it's like, you motherfucker, you son of a bitch, kind of thing. Like, and then I'm like, kind of
What's going on
watching
here?
I'm like,
Yeah.
and so I sit down. I'm like, who is this bitch? Like, what happened here?
Yeah.
Like, it
What
just
am I
gets
not gonna
so
believe?
interesting. Exactly. Like
Yeah.
what the fuck
That's how
is
they
going
rope you
on?
in, bro. That's how they rope you in.
It's
Up
pretty
on
cool.
Pawn Stars. Pawn Stars is good. I like
Oh,
that.
Pawn Stars.
What was
is
the
really
one?
good.
Storage Wars. That was great as well. I used to.
I
watching
love
that.
Storage Wars. That was so
That shit
fun.
was cool, dude. And I love like what's it called? Gas Monkey Garage and stuff. Whatever that show was called.
Mhm.
That was
Did
great.
you did you like American Restoration? Or I think it's called American
We didn't.
Restoration.
Yeah, we didn't really get that one over here. I love like Ramsey's like what's it called? Kitchen Nightmares, and I think
Did
he
you
did
like
one about hotels and shit. What was it called? Hotel Hell or some shit. I love all the Ramsey stuff. Like it's just fun. Like
did you watch his YouTube stuff for the F word?
no, I don't think so.
Dude, check it out. I love the F word. It's basically like it's a much nicer form, and it's not Hell's Kitchen. It's just his like one of his kitchens that he actually like runs.
Yeah.
And I think it's in the UK somewhere. and like they just have people come over as guests, and then they like he instructs them on like what to do, and then they make the food, and then they're judged by like all the people that like they serve the food to, and so they like get a rating.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting. It's fun, and I like it because then he also does like little tidbits in the in between of like, oh, we're gonna like do veal, and I know not everybody likes veal, but like it's
Yeah.
the process is interesting. Um, because of like what you go through, and trying not to get attached to the meat, of course, and and it's like it's cool stuff, and like there's most of the time he's doing like contests between the people that he talks to. There's some
Yeah.
famous people that pop in that like he does baking contests with. I think his mom shows up at one point, or like a friend of his mom's or something like that. And like sometimes he loses the match, which is kind of cool, like seeing him bake something that's supposed to be like really good,
Mhm.
and the other guy's like, I'm just gonna do it this way. It's very simple. And he's like, it's fucking simple, you fucking simple. And then like it's amazing compared to Gordon Ramsay. And he's like, you fucking twat. And he's
He is only human.
like,
Let's go. Let's go.
because
I love.
Gordon's so competitive.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Like that's how he got to where he is. Like
He was gonna be a soccer player, right?
he played. I think he played professionally in Scotland, and then he injured. He got injured very early on in his career, and he had to retire, and then he became a chef. Yeah,
Good. I
yeah.
like him as a
My
chef.
my dad hates him so much because he played for like a rival team to my dad's team. And my dad, like, even to this day, it's like, I was like, he hasn't played football in 30 years, but I was like, I don't care, he's a prick. Like he's probably, just because he played for him when he was like 22 or whatever. My dad's just like, fuck him. I was like, would you eat at his restaurant? No, absolutely not, never. Yeah, it's funny. It's hilarious. Yeah, look, I don't know really. I think we're kind of, in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be coming into a kind of a bit of a slow period. So unless, like, I don't really know, is there anything in the next week coming up that we want to potentially talk about in the next podcast?
I think you like. I don't know if you had a chance to read the comic for Secret Invasion, but I think you
I
should
read
really check it out.
I read the first issue of
Which
it, and yeah, it was great. It was cool. It was really interesting. Um,
did you see the
but
part with
again,
Blade?
I didn't read anything previous to it, so I
Right.
didn't. Again, I know there was like a build up in the comics for like a year before it got to this event, so I didn't really know much about it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it
of
still was
course.
cool. It was great. Like, I loved at the end where the ship landed and like all the Avengers come out and it's them in
Fucking
their old
ridiculous.
suits and shit. Like, and you're just kind of like, what the fuck? And like, it's like, are these the real Avengers that have come back and they were lost in space or something? It's like, are we here? Are we home yet? And it's like, what the fuck? And then it's like,
Yeah.
hang on. So who have we been following? Are all the scrolls that we're following? Like, again, I don't know because I didn't do any of the following. I'm just kind of
Right.
just jumped into the finale basically, like,
Well,
but it is
well, let
cool.
me let me give you like a short premise of what happened and why there's so many different like variations right now. So, Ireland, UK people have football in their blood and soul. Like I
100%.
dude, I hear it all the time. Like I see it
1000%.
sometimes in
It's
Finto's channels, like
yeah.
just nonstop talking about it. And there's a hockey channel in there too, right? Or is it just all
I
mixed
just
sports?
Yeah, I just have a sports channel in my Discord, and most of the year we just talk about hockey, like, because I'm a big hockey fan as well, which is
Mm.
rare for Ireland. But yeah, like, there's a few people from England and stuff in my channel, and they talk about football a lot. But
When
football is like gospel over here. Like, so there's
of
people will
course.
support one team, and you know if someone supports another team, they just automatically don't like them just because of the football team that they
Yeah.
support. Like, and
It's fucking brutal over there, man.
hooliganism is a big problem. Like, it's why I don't like football personally. Like, because I just think it's gone too far. People care about the game too much. Whereas the fact that they're going to games in preparation to kick the shit out of like fans from the other team after the game, and like you could potentially be like killing people. Like, it's too much. Like, it's a fucking
So
game.
so like the way I see it, hockey is like the fighting within the ring,
Yeah, yeah.
whereas like UK football is basically
I'll never
everyone fighting out in the bleachers.
I'll never forget going to my first hockey game and sitting beside somebody who was a fan from the other team. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I'm sitting beside a supporter from the away team. Like, I was like, what the hell's happening here? Because football is so bad that they have to split the stadium in two and the fans have to sit on opposite sides. Because otherwise
That's great.
they'd be fucking
Right.
killing each other for the whole game. Like, You know what I mean?
They
There'd
have
be
like
out,
at least a fence like dividing it or something.
there's walls that divide it, and like lines of security guards just keep them
That's
apart.
fucking
Like
sick.
it's
Like that's so
ridiculous, bro.
fucking cool. Like
It's
I can picture people throwing their fucking drinks like, ah, you motherfucker. Like,
yeah,
just,
that's it. Like, but then it goes too far, and people will
yeah,
like, so say like the home team lose, they're all gonna just stand outside and wait for the away
yeah,
team's
because they have,
fans to come out, and
yeah,
they're just gonna kick the fuck out of them. Like, it's too
that's
far.
so
Like,
fucked.
yeah, it's crazy. Like, and even like when I was a kid, like I didn't want to play football because like you'd see like my local team, they'd be playing games, and then the away team, you'd see them like getting weapons at the end of the game and all, like going to kick the shit out of the teams. Like there'd be fights after every game and all. You're just kind of
Jesus
like,
Christ.
I don't want to get the shit kicked out of me every Wednesday, like, so I'm just not going to play this game. Like, I'm just like, fuck this. Like, I'll go skateboard instead. Like,
You're like, I like my
Like,
legs as they are.
yeah, fuck that. Like, yeah, no thanks. But
Did
yeah,
you get
like
good in
I
your
just,
skateboarding?
I was okay when I was like 14. I was pretty good. Like I could do like heel flips and kick flips and shit. I could do some stair jumps and stuff like that. Like I was okay. It was my life from like the age of 13 to 14. I broke my leg then, not on a skateboard, but I broke my leg on a bike, and that fucked me up. Like I was never the same again. I
Mm,
lost my confidence to skate after that. But for about a year, like in my prime, just before I broke my leg, like I was loving skating. Like I was doing heel flips down sets of stairs and stuff. Like I was like really good at it. Like I really enjoyed it. And we'd go to the skate parks and stuff, and I loved it. Like, like I'd say to my dad, like for my birthday, oh, would he bring me and a few of the lads to the skate park? Like that was my present. Like I just wanted to go and skate for the day. Like,
that's cool.
loved it. Like loved it. Yeah, after I broke my leg, my life was never the same again.
I
I
get
actually I think about this regularly. Like if there was like separate timelines or something, like it's like there's a timeline where I didn't break my leg, and I'd be like, what's that? What's that Finto up to? Like,
Oh,
is he
it
even
would.
Finto? Finto probably doesn't even exist. Do you know what I mean? Like that in that timeline, it's like I never even got into gaming because I was out in the real
Kickflip
world. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's crazy, bro.
You
Crazy
said
to think
sending
of.
out videos to the extreme sports.
Yeah,
This is
or
my
like
video doing all kinds of shit, doing a
yeah,
nollie,
like my
a manual, kick
Instagram would
flips.
just be me just skating around. Like we used to go out at 9 a.m. in the morning, skate all day, and come home at 9 o'clock at night. We'd just be out on our boards all day. I'd come home and I'd take my shoes off, and like I'd nearly be in tears. My feet would be so sore. Like because we'd
Jesus.
just be on it. We'd be on our feet for 12 hours a day, just skating around, grinding rails, grinding curbs. Like our boards, I remember like my mom like spent like €200 at the time, which was like crazy money back then. Still a lot of money now for a skateboard, but
Oh
remember
yeah.
she spent like €200 in like 2002 to buy me a skateboard. And I came back in after the first day, and like all the paint was off the nose and the tail because I was grinding stuff. And she's like, "You fucking ruined it already." I was like, "Well, like I was just grinding." I was like, "It's fine. It's just paint. It's all good." Like I was like, "It's still perfect." And she's like,
Yeah.
looking at it like, and it looked wrecked because like all the paint was gone off the deck. Like, and I was just like, "No, that's meant to happen." And she's like, going crazy, like, "I just spent so much money on that. You ruined it one day." I was like, "Yeah, the paint's not important on the bottom." Like, you know what I mean? Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah. That shows your wear and tear. That shows like your veteranship in a sense, right? Like showing that you've done a lot of shit.
Pretty much, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so what I was saying is like again, I don't know what we're gonna really do. We might have to kind of play it off the cuff for a couple of weeks on the podcast.
Fin- finish the comics, dude.
I'll finish the comic, but again, I don't know if we can do an entire podcast episode on a comic book. But we'll look,
Yeah.
we'll come back.
We,
If we do one next week, maybe we could maybe we might take a break next week or something. I don't know. We'll see. But if we're back anyway, we might just go off the cuff and just see where we land.
yeah.
We could just kind of talk news from the week, all that sort of stuff. I do want to maybe if we can try and get Andre on as a guest, maybe and you could do like a little One Piece episode or something like that. Maybe when
Yeah.
the I don't know, maybe when I finish Demon Slayer, and if you watch like Edge Runners or something, we have some like content that we can all talk about. It'd be pretty handy. Be a nice
Sure.
little episode, I think. But yeah, look, that's pretty much it for this week, guys. Massive thank you to everybody who was hanging out with us live. If you're watching us on a replay, leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought of Secret Invasion. Is it the worst shit you've ever seen, or no? If it is, which I know it is, just let us know why. And yeah, we'll be back soon. Have a good weekend, everybody, and see you in the next one.